Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Aaliyah and I talk about things to do with pregnancy and birth and motherhood and homemaking and pretty much my life. That's what I do all day, every day. I'm also a special needs mom and I would really love to have you join me. Today I'm going to be talking about my first trimester recap of my third pregnancy. So I'm 14 weeks or almost 14 weeks pregnant now. And this is baby number 3. And with my last pregnancy, I kept it a secret. Didn't tell anybody because of the type of pregnancy and birth that I choose. I choose to birth outside of the medical system. Some people call it free birth, some people call it unassisted birth. It's a choice that feels the most natural to me. And I hope to document this pregnancy and kind of expose this way of going through pregnancy and birthing to more people, because it's a much more relaxed approach and it's a lot less scary and anxiety producing than going through the medical system as a pregnant woman, and also with a midwife as well. There isn't a lot of, well, you could choose to have no testing whatsoever. We didn't choose that this time around, but we did last time. We didn't have any testing except for a pregnancy test and a blood test that I had done by a friend who is a midwife. But yeah, the point of this video is the first trimester recap. So I had a baby last year in July, and I am still exclusively breastfeeding him. So when you're exclusively breastfeeding, you usually don't get your menstrual cycle back for a pretty long time. Mine came back fairly early, I think in September. So he was born, not in July, in June. He was born in June and my cycle returned in September. I had a period for about 3 months and then I didn't have it again. I chalked it up to just the hormones that are involved when you're exclusively breastfeeding sometimes make your period irregular. So I didn't even question like I could be pregnant. I just, kept going on about my life. In January, I was extremely emotional. That was the first sign, but we didn't know it was a sign. I was working out. I was trying to eat less calories, but ravagingly hungry, like just hungry all day, every day, which was another sign that I was pregnant, but I had no idea because I didn't think it was gonna happen. I had like a mental breakdown in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru with my husband. It's a hilarious story. Maybe one day I will have him tell it because I'm terrible at telling stories. And yeah, I had a emotional meltdown in Chick-fil-A drive-thru, which should have been a sign because that's how I know I'm pregnant every time I'm pregnant, and totally missed it. Then we were scheduled to travel to Atlanta at the end of January, and I had like a day or two of feeling just really off. I was really nauseous a couple times throughout the day. And I was like, there's no way. Like, I'm not pregnant. And then one night I was feeling nauseous and I was like, I'm going to take a pregnancy test in the morning. So that's what I did. And it was positive. It just didn't take any time to turn positive. It was positive right away. I was pretty shocked. I was only 6 months pregnant at the time. 6 months postpartum and finding out I was pregnant and then trying to figure out when did this happen? Like, I have no idea how or when this happened. I don't know how. We all know how. But when did this happen? So, I told my husband, and it made me feel better because I couldn't figure out, one, why I wasn't losing weight, and two, I couldn't figure out why I was so hungry. Like, I know breastfeeding makes you hungry, but I was just so hungry. It was like nothing I ever felt before. And then along came like more fatigue, which is a normal pregnancy symptom in the first trimester, but couple that with breastfeeding, I really some days felt like I just couldn't move. I think I spent a weekend on the couch, just trying to get through each day and eat. I just wanted to eat. We talked about it. In my ideal world, I would not have gone to the doctor at all. I would have guesstimated a due date and went from there. So originally I thought my due date would be the end of August based off of when the last time I had a period and my average cycle, which is not like the average 28-day cycle. It's closer to like 35 or 37 days. So I use that to try and calculate an estimate of when this baby would be due. And then the more I thought about it and like talked to my husband, he's in the military, so they have a little bit more regulating around they have a very strict schedule. And I didn't want to like tell him and he tell his job like, oh yeah, my wife's gonna have a baby at the end of August, and then turns out it's like mid-September, we're still waiting. So I decided to go get a dating ultrasound and some lab work done because I am breastfeeding. I want to make sure like I'm getting the nutrients that is needed to support the growing baby and my growing baby. So I made an appointment with an OBGYN group locally, just because I don't really care who it is. Because I know I'm not going to birth with them. So I went to the first appointment, which is they make you take a urine test, and then based on I knew I was pretty early in the pregnancy, and I tried to find the heartbeat at home with the Doppler and couldn't find it. So I let them know that. So she just did an ultrasound to try and figure out where I was at. And I measured right at 9 weeks pregnant. And this was about a month after I had found out I was pregnant by the pregnancy test. So I actually knew I was pregnant pretty early. And yeah, so I was 9 weeks at that appointment. I got blood work done 2 weeks after that because I wanted to do the blood test to figure out the gender because I promised my husband we would find out this time. Because he wanted to know so bad the last time, but I wanted it to be a secret. So we decided this time we'll find out. And I'm not a fan of ultrasounds. I'll probably do another video on that in the future. So the option to take a blood test was the option for me. It does cost extra. I know a lot of people have told me since I told them that I was doing it that they didn't have that option or they didn't know that that was an option. And I was like, maybe your doctor didn't offer it to you because it's not fully covered by insurance or something along those lines. But it is an option. And so we found out the gender. I'll keep it to myself for now. And yeah, so my blood work came back with the same thing it always comes back with when I'm pregnant: low iron, low vitamin D, and I've been supplementing with those since I can remember. So it stays on the lower side at this point. I haven't been able to get it to like average or on the higher side, but I'm not worried about it. I'm just gonna keep doing what I've been doing to maintain it. Moving forward in this pregnancy, I will be doing the same thing I did last pregnancy, which is keeping track of my blood pressure, my weight gain. That's for personal reasons. I don't think it's completely necessary. And the baby's heart tones whenever I feel called to do so. I don't do it on a regular basis, listening to the baby. I just kind of tune in and sometimes feel called to check in that way. I asked on Instagram for some questions about my first trimester. One of the questions that a friend asked was, did I have any food aversions? Was anything a complete no? I can't think of anything that I didn't want to eat. I want to eat everything. I was starving. I was eating, but I was starving. I had some nausea and some morning sickness, but there wasn't tied to a specific food. It was more tied to just being hungry. Like if I let myself go too long without eating, it was not a good time for anybody. My mood, the nausea, I probably was like dry heaving, which is the most frustrating thing because you're like feeling like you have to throw up, but there's nothing to throw up. And that's really kind of the worst. Someone else asked me to talk about my skin changes because at the beginning of my pregnancy, my skin broke out so bad. It was dry, but it was breaking out like it was oily. It was really frustrating, and I had a good bit of pimples around here. I didn't even think about it until I got the positive pregnancy test, and I was like, oh wow, maybe my skin is breaking out from all the hormones. But it changed in a way that was undesirable. Like it wasn't like, oh, you have a pregnancy glow. It was like dull and dry and disgusting. The biggest thing was I didn't feel like, it's not normal for me to not be able to lose weight. I can usually lose weight by exercising pretty quickly. So it was frustrating, and it was more of a like mental challenge because I couldn't figure out what was going on. I couldn't eat less. And it felt awful. It really felt awful to be working out and trying to eat right and seeing nothing change in my body. Like I actually felt like I was getting fatter, which was super, super discouraging. But which was also relieving to find out later that I was pregnant. So there's a reason why I wasn't losing weight. Emotional state was, and still is, very delicate. It's very fragile. Well, at the beginning, it was more up and down, mostly down though, which is not normal for me as a person. I'm usually a very happy, cheerful, like just higher energy person. And I don't know if it was the just lack of energy or like the hunger part of things that was causing me to just be so on edge every single day. And then not just on edge as far as like being agitated, but on edge, like on the verge of crying over everything. So emotional changes, it's just really important to be like more in tune even than I was, because I wasn't paying attention to my emotions at that time to even understand why am I having these feelings of deep sadness over anything. I maybe chalked it up to like postpartum hormonal changes, just like I chalked that my lack of period to that. But those were like the biggest physical and emotional changes that I was feeling. The last question I got was, how is this pregnancy, or how was this first trimester different or the same to my last pregnancies, or my other pregnancies? And the same would be that I was super emotional, had a mental breakdown, literally could cry over everything. That happens to me with every pregnancy. Other ways it was the same. I was nauseous and threw up. I wish I could be one of those people who just has the nausea, because that's tolerable for me. Well, it's all tolerable, but it's just a little bit easier to deal with than the actual vomiting. And I have that with all my pregnancies so far. I would say I get bloated, so I'm not showing, but I look pregnant. I gain a lot of weight in my stomach area pretty fast. And the fatigue was the same. I feel like they're all pretty much the same. I think the only difference was this time my skin broke out. Normally, when I'm pregnant, my skin doesn't break out at all. And it's pretty much cleared up at this point. But for those first like 2 months, 2 or 3 months, first trimester, my skin was terrible, like just terrible. Thank you for watching. And if you've gotten this far, thank you even more. I hope to continue to share more about this pregnancy, about pregnancy in general, about parenting, homemaking, all of the things that I love to do. Who knows what could come up in all of that. If you would, please subscribe. And if you like this video, like it. And leave any comments you have below about all things to do with birthing, unassisted birthing, free birthing, unassisted pregnancy. I know when I announced my last pregnancy and birth afterwards, a lot of people had questions around safety. And so I will be making a video addressing all of that. And I hope you will continue to tune in. Thanks for watching. Bye.